Next review of the day is going to be for the film Flight Risk. This is a movie directed by Mel Gibson. Even though it seems like from the marketing, I don't know. I don't know if most people know that this is a Mel Gibson movie. And I mean, Mel Gibson. I mean, he's had some hits as a director. I mean, with Passion of the Christ, that was a big hit there. Hacksaw Ridge was a huge hit for a lot of people. I mean, that won 2 Academy Awards there, so he's had a lot of hits there. But yeah, I mean, I don't think most people even know maybe this is maybe a film from Mel Gibson. I don't think they're marketing that as kind of a hard thing in this. But yeah, so this is a movie, his latest one, Flight Risk, and simple premise here. You got this United States Marshal there who's played by Michelle Dockery. She has this Topher Grace there, who's this accountant who works for the mob. He's gonna turn on the mob. He's gonna be an informant, and she has to take him to a trial, and so he can testify against the mob and he can out the people that he was smuggling money for. But twist is that, oh wait, the pilot of the plane isn't who they say they are. It turns out it's a criminal, and Mark Wahlberg, who's a hitman assassin, who's going to kill Topher Grace. He was hired to kill Topher Grace and kill the U.S. Marshal there for the mob there. So they have to survive up in the air in this little rickety plane. The three of them. Can she survive? Can Topher Grace survive? In time in order to get to the trial and so he can testify against the mob. So that's the basic setup you have of this film. Um, this is a little bit feels like somewhat like a throwback maybe to some 90s films that you would have had back then there of this type of action kind of thrillers. Mark Wahlberg here who plays like this villain. I guess we actually get to see what Mark Wahlberg would have done if 9/11 had happened, I guess, in something like this. I mean, I guess we see a little bit of his move set in a plane there. Hey, how's it going there, Sage? What's up there, man? I was just talking about how Mark Wahlberg, we get to see a little bit of his move set of on a plane. This is probably what he would have done in order to stop 9/11. Good old Mark Wahlberg here, Marky Mark. So yeah, you kind of got that. The tone of this movie is a little bit more goofier than I thought. I mean, it's not as maybe I don't think it was really that tense. I think it was kinda a little bit more goofier than, being tense personally, and the performance with Mark Wahlberg, I mean, he's going, like, way, way, to over the top, I think, in this type of thing here. I think this more is kinda, like, harkening back to his performance in something like, his performance in what was that movie where he was the stalker? I'm trying to think of that movie, where he was the stalker in that film. It kind of reminds you of something like that. I think, which we haven't seen from him in a minute. Um, yeah, the hairline is definitely good. Yeah, the hairline is also I mean, the way that looks is also very silly. So, and the dialogue in this is really terrible. I mean, the dialogue in this is really terrible. I mean, it's written by Jared Rosenberg. I thought that was also a really sore kind of weak spot in the movie as well. The way that's kind of handled. Again, the tone of it is very kind of all over the place with that of it's trying to kind of balance. Like I don't know if it's trying to be this tense thriller, but also this kind of goofy action kind of thing. I think that's one of the problems with it, and one of the problems with the movie there. Um, and as you said, yeah, that hairline's the funniest thing in the movie for sure. Um, Fear. Yeah, that was it. Yeah, I was trying to think it was a creep or fear or something like that. I was trying to think bounce between, but yeah, Fear was the movie, a 1996 movie with Mark Wahlberg in it. So it kind of reminded me a lot of his performance in that. Um, and yeah, there's a lot of like sexual jokes in here. There's a lot of kind of that kind of crass humor in it that doesn't really work all that well. You have all your kind of conventional type of stuff there, and this movie's it's a short movie, so they got to get to these conclusions very fast. Because in these type of things, there's always somebody who's a double agent. There's always somebody who, it's an inside job, like, oh, somebody that she works with, maybe working with the mob too. And, that's always, in these type of movies, um, you kinda got that going on. Uh, yeah, I mean, it's very kinda super conventional in that kinda way, and, very stereotypical in a movie of this kind of, ilk. Um, the performances, I mean, besides from Mark Wahlberg, who's, way over the top, Topher Grace, who's Winston. I mean, this isn't really much of a stretch for Topher Grace. I mean, he's playing like kind of a little bit of a Weasley, whiny kind of guy. That's kind of performances that Topher Grace kind of plays in most of the stuff that he's in. Um, except for, in something like when he was in that movie, Predators, where they kinda use that to play with your kind of, expectations of him, where it was revealed that he was like a serial killer. That's where it kinda worked there. But, I mean, Topher Grace is kinda typically playing a Topher Grace kind of, performance there. You got Michelle Dockery, who's in there. It's in like I said, it's just the main really 3 of them. The other people you hear mostly just like voices in it. And, with Michelle Dockery there, I mean, she's your, okay, she again, this is also very stereotypical. She's an agent who made a mistake in the past, and she's trying to, make up for that mistake and make good on that because she messed up, and it's like, "Oh, I wanna," that's why she's so very serious, and because of that, and it's like, okay, you got that kinda conventional thing in it. Um, even saying all that, with all the problems I had, I didn't completely hate the movie. I think maybe if you do a double feature with this and the Netflix movie, I just reviewed a little while ago called Carry On with, Taron Egerton. Maybe this would be a good double feature, it maybe be a decent double feature there with that, like, both goofy, plain type movies there. Maybe it would kinda work for some people. Maybe some people, kinda find it, maybe like me, slightly entertaining of how stupid and kinda ridiculous this is, in that sense. I don't think this is like I said, I'm not saying this is I'm not giving a super endorsement of this movie. I think it's just, I mean, entertainment on a schlock level. Maybe like a Snakes on a Plane or something like that, like, on that type of level. Maybe you can kind of enjoy that. Um, Rating from Maturity said, would it have been better if it was literally about Mark Wahlberg stopping 9/11? Actually, yeah, I think like if they do like a dream sequence about him stopping 9/11, I think yeah, maybe if you did something like that, maybe it would have been a little bit of an improvement there. Maybe I could have bumped it up a couple of points for something like that. Um, but yeah, I mean, maybe I mean, this is more something that should have been put on streaming, not really maybe a movie theater, just in terms of like the way it's kind of presented and the way it is. So that's why I'm gonna give it just a stream it for me, just kind of a lower stream it. Um, this is kind of, I mean, below kind of what Mel Gibson does. Like you said, I mean, when he's on, he's on. I mean, he can do some great stuff. Hacksaw Ridge, for example. In the presentation of that, I don't know. Maybe he was up late at night watching a lot of old stuff on Max. Maybe he was flipping through the Max stuff. And he's like, maybe I want to make a schlocky '90s action movie like that. And he kind of brought it to the screen. But for me, I just kinda give it, yeah, a very lowish, stream it there. So just let Michael Bay make a 9/11 movie? Oh, man, that'd be a lot of American flags, a lot of, American military, a lot of that, yeah, that would totally be something there, with 9/11 there. Who made that movie Fahrenheit 9/11? Who did that movie? I'm blanking on who made that film there. But let me know if you guys gonna check it out. It's in theaters now. Flight Risk. There maybe you're gonna get some good mileage out of it. So yeah, and this is a quick watch, only an hour and like 30 something minutes. So yeah, if you want to, spend some time at the theater, I think there's other better movies at the theater. I'm gonna talk about a better movie actually coming up that I actually saw in the movie theater. But yeah, but if you're gonna like, hey, maybe this is my type of speed there, maybe you're gonna watch it. But yeah, so those are my thoughts on Flight Risk.